Well, here's something I seem to see a lot of. Wind. Wind gusts up to about 40, 50 miles an hour. But there's an added bonus. Because tonight, it's thunderstorms, perhaps severe. I guess in my Bad Weather Blues video, my thunderstorms part was a little weak, let's say. Maybe I'll make it up tonight. In southwest Texas is a place of great cultural and natural significance to the followers of ancient history, Seminole Canyon. Despite being a little windy, Seminole State Park is a beautiful park. But this is a campground. It's not boondocking. You have to pay both to get into the park and to camp here. And I'm actually camped in the picnic area because everything else was taken, spring break. But it's a great spot. I get to look over the canyon. There's birds in the air. But before I could be at peace with my new surroundings, the spirits of the land needed to send me a little reminder as to who was really in charge. With my trial over, by morning I was free to wander the woods. I don't know what it is, but it's incredibly fragrant. Just makes the whole world smell like Febreze. Well, here's something I found really interesting. The rocks around the face of the cliff have a resonance to them. It's like they're hollow or they're porous. So they have a tone. What I'm gonna do is I've got my other camera right close by to pick up the sound. I'm gonna see if I can play it. Rock on! Where the Seminole Canyon merges with the waters of the Rio Grande, the river takes on a vibrant emerald green. It's a haven for all things living, from the cacti along the upper edge to the turtles sunning on the rocks below. Spring is the time of rebirth in full living color. So there's really only one reason why I brought this big, massive lens with me and hiked 7 miles up a trail. And that's to see the panther. Close to where the Seminole Canyon joins the Rio Grande is a large pocket in the opposite cliff called the Panther Cave. To the unguided eye, there is little to see, but with a little magnification, the panther soon comes into view. You may have noticed I tend to wander off the marked trails. I know I'm not supposed to, but you know, I'm an old guy. I don't always remember the rules, you know how it is. Maybe I should eat more almonds, that's supposed to help. But if you're one of these people that tend to wander off, I definitely recommend a guided tour. The Seminole Visitor Center has an excellent exhibit of the geology, recent history, and natural attractions of the park. But to me, the displays of the original inhabitants are the most fascinating. From the Ice Age to just a few thousand years ago, ancient people without a name, a memory, or a voice thrived on the land and then disappeared. Clues left by fragments of tools and other remnants give us an idea of how they actually survived this cruel, rugged climate. However, their greatest legacy is what they left on the canyon walls. But why view them as reproductions or just at a distance when you can see them right up close? The Fate Bell Pictograph Tour begins at the Visitor Center and walks past a magnificent sculpture by Bill Worrell. The previous tours were cancelled due to heavy rain, but as fate had it, the torrent ceased and this one group got to ascend a mile to the canyon floor. The tours are led by park guides or resident archaeologists who point out and describe the features on the walls as you progress through the caves. They are excellent at pointing out details you wouldn't even have noticed on your own, so it's definitely a good idea to pay attention to what they're saying.
Short legs, and the arms coming out this way and a head, so it has at least 3 features that we would characterize it as an anthropomorph.
Using words like anthropomorphic suggests a desire to classify, analyze, and categorize the past, rather than answer what everybody wants to know. What do these figures mean? What is the story? Left to my own thoughts and imagination, I tried to interpret the artwork on my own. I see a shrimp or a slug here, but the guide says it's a deer. This one's definitely a cat, but it seemed to be vomiting as someone blow-dried its tail. It's pretty obvious I'm a much worse interpreter, so I really shouldn't criticize. I wonder how a modern shaman or tribal elder would interpret these symbols and signs. But one detail that nobody could misinterpret is that the paintings are deteriorating rapidly and may soon be gone forever. I think the true meaning can be felt by those strong enough in spirit to hear the walls talk. Along for the tour were a young couple of perhaps Native American descent who listened politely to all that was said. But when they got to this figure, they stood transfixed and asked the guide what it was. They were offered a vague hypothesis based on speculation, but I could sense they had a deeper understanding of its meaning, and I quietly heard the whisper, "It's okay, he wouldn't know." It was like eavesdropping on an ancient hidden secret. As with most tours, they end too soon and leave you with more questions than answers. Yet it did inspire me to learn more about these unique little time capsules tucked away in the dark pockets of the canyon, and to help encourage others to take a visit and experience the ancient culture themselves before the opportunity passes into oblivion. The morning coffee gave me time to reflect before I started to take down the trailer. I certainly would have liked to stay a little longer, but my budget had me seeking a break from the camping fees, so headed out to find a dispersed site on public lands. I hope you'll join me on my journeys as I keep traveling and exploring this vast and curious world.